So XRP was able to beat BlackRock in terms of market value yesterday. Things are a little different now, though, because the value has gone down a bit. Hey, BlackRock, how about letting everyone know that you're going to file for a spot ETF? I'm not serious. But once more, it makes sense. Please let me know in the comments below if you think it makes sense. It makes sense to me. A lot of different ETF files from a lot of different AUMs. Oh, and of course, those asset managers are actually BlackRock's rivals. It makes sense for them to apply for an ETF. But the XRP army is welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. We're seeing a lot of red. You probably saw that in my HVR report. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, you can see that there is a lot of red at the beginning across the board. A new week has begun, and since we're talking about new weeks, today is the first day of the last week of August, which is something we need to remember. XRP is currently down about 3% in price, which is a clear sign that it is responding to the overall market. Its price is currently 2.94. From a Bitcoin point of view, we're also down about 0.4%, worth $174.9 billion. So that's why I said, we are lower than BlackRock's market valuation now, because of course we're seeing a little bit of a retracement. But I think we'll make it above that because I think this is the third or fourth time we briefly went above BlackRock's valuation. The 24-hour trading volume for XRP is about $6.5 billion. Before we go any further, as always, all the videos on this channel are not financial advice. As with any investment, you should always do your own study before putting money into crypto. We saw a loss of $1.17 billion in US bought Bitcoin ETFs last week. This was the second biggest loss since the ETFs began trading. But, I'm not surprised by this because of how the power is pulling down. That is, all the money that Bitcoin makes now is going into altcoins, especially Ethereum. When you look at it, a lot of whales are actually moving their Bitcoin into ETH. It's clear that you can put two and two together if you've been noticing that. This doesn't surprise me. Moving on, though, Bitcoin accounting company Metaplanet has said that they have added to the FTSE Japan Index after a good quarter. Adding this feature will allow passive capital to move into Bitcoin markets and give regular investors direct access to Bitcoin. Also, David Bailey, Trump's crypto assistant, says there won't be another Bitcoin bear market for a few years. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Are we seeing Bitcoin break out of the 4-year cycle? Are those big changes that were made not going to happen anymore? Part of me agrees with you that it makes sense, but I'm also wary because of what we're seeing with the losses. Just look at the movements to see that I think demand is higher than supply. I really believe that. Also, I said this a long time ago, and if you watch the show every day, you already know this. I've said for a long time that once banks get on board, Bitcoin prices will not be as crazy as they are now. David Bailey has now added to the list of people who have said that time is the most important thing. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I also believe. That being said, projects that are clear about regulations and have demand from institutions besides Bitcoin might also do something similar. We will, of course, keep an eye on what happens from a long-term chance point of view. Obviously, that's where your research comes in, but don't forget to plan your exit. You should remember this very, very important thing. If your goal is to lock in some gains this year, then you should stick to your plan. Don't leave any earnings on the table. You guys know if it's for good. Always do your study and only invest money that you can afford to lose. Once you've done that, patience is the most important thing to remember. But let's look at where Reese Merrick says the stable coin market, which is worth about $300 billion right now, is expected to see a lot of growth, maybe reaching $1.2 trillion, $1,000 by 2028. That's only 2.5 years from now, and some estimates put the amount at up to 2.8 trillion. By 2028, stablecoin will have grown a lot thanks to legal changes like the US Genius Act and more fintech integration. This shows that stablecoin is becoming more important for keeping financial ecosystems stable and liquid. As stablecoins become more important to global financial systems, institutional and utility demand will drive the next wave of adoption. Ripple is in a great situation to take advantage of this growth. If you want to read this whole article, watch it. Go follow Reese Merrick on X. You can kind of skim over the sweet, very informative piece. Nate says, you know what? I totally agree with this. I'm still amazed at how many TradeFi investors love to rip off crypto investors. That is, if you trade on the traditional side, those buyers usually don't say too good things about the crypto side, and can only think it's because they don't understand or are jealous of the returns at this point. We can argue about who will win and lose, but crypto is here to stay. I don't know what else to say. I agree with it 100%. Over the last 15 months, a lot of investors have moved their money from the stock market into the cryptocurrency area. The people I knew before never really looked into crypto, and your boy Crypto ZX used to talk to his friends all the time about how people who know me well are now telling me, Crypto ZX, you were right, my friend. You were right, my friend. We should have been paying attention to Bitcoin and Ethereum early on. That just goes to show how quickly things are changing. As you can see, HSBC says that the timetable for crypto usage has sped up thanks to clear regulations and AI. Each and every person participating will get rich. Because of the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, the time frame for crypto adoption has shrunk. A lot is happening in this business. Now, look at this. 82% of people asked by Morgan Stanley said they do not own any cryptocurrencies. Dan says this bull market will not end. Bitcoin and Ethereum have very little long-term risk compared to the 2020 to 2025 period. Price and ownership records for all of these things will reach new highs during this cycle. It's expected that 2026 will be a good year for business. Based on history, I think that should be the start of a bear market. It's clear that the regulatory situation has changed, or we're seeing interest from institutions. But once more, guys, be careful. Here is where your plan comes into play. You don't have to worry about whether or not there will be a bull market next year if you're in it for the long term, as I said before. If, on the other hand, you want to lock in gains this year, you should be careful because there's no guarantee that the market will also boom next year. Please tell me what you think in the comments. But if we look at the dominance, we can see that there is a bit of an uptick going into Monday morning. This is because Bitcoin is pushing below. Now use $112,000 in cash to get $111,700. Again, it comes back to what I say every day. If we're not above $115,000, these amounts are possible. So that doesn't surprise us. Tomorrow, we'll check out what Bitcoin does. Not being able to get back above 115 this week means that some of these lower time frame goals are still possible. XRP, on the other hand, is clearly worth less than $3 right now. We are pretty much going back to where we were a few weeks ago. In this area, we do have some help. On the other hand, if this doesn't hold, we could go back down to levels like 278. However, dominance could help us stay around these levels a little longer than normal. Again, keep an eye on Bitcoin because these goals could be tested again in the next few days if Bitcoin goes back down a little further and gains more ground. But once more, I'll take care of you guys every day. Tell me what you think in the comments. At some point, Crypto ZX and I will see you again.